I'm Tracy Baxter with today's Record Newswatch. All but one of the region's school districts watched as their budgets were approved by voters yesterday. The lone defeat came in Tuxedo, where a $15.9 million budget went down to defeat. 53% of those voting there approved the budget, but since the Tuxedo Board had put together a spending plan that exceeded its tax cap, 60% voter approval was required. Tuxedo district officials will now need to decide whether to adopt a contingency budget or put a revised spending plan up for a vote. Statewide, 98% of the budgets gained voter approval yesterday. The somber sights and sounds are now available for all to see and hear at the National September 11th Memorial Museum that opened to the public today. The museum is located at the site of the former World Trade Center and features videos, voicemail messages from people in hijacked planes, portraits of the nearly 3,000 victims, and assorted artifacts. Along with the wrenching audio and video, staff say an effort has been made to help visitors handle its potentially traumatic impact that includes a layout that lets people bypass the more intense exhibits. A Cutterbackville woman is accused of burglarizing the garage of a Westbrookville resident, then selling stolen aluminum scrap metal and electric motors to a local scrap metal yard. State police investigation of the incident led to the arrest of 44-year-old Ann Jennings on a felony burglary charge. Jennings was sent to Sullivan County Jail on $7,500 bail and is due to appear tomorrow in Mamakating Town Court. He considered not taking his small fishing boat out on the Hudson River back on the morning of May 14th because it was windy. But Campbell Hall resident Eric Lester decided to head out anyway, and boy did that decision pay off. Lester reeled in a 60-pound striped bass in Newburgh Bay, the biggest striped bass ever taken in New York State in fresh water. He described to us his battle with what would be a record-setting fish.
I was out there probably for about an hour, and all of a sudden a fish hit my bait and just, took off. It must have took 100, 150 feet of line before I could even get to the pole. I picked it up, I set the hook, and as soon as I started fighting it, I knew it was a big fish. I really had no idea how big it was. The fish would take some line, I would gain some line back on it, it would take some more line. Finally, when it hit the surface, I saw, the shadow that it had in the water, and it was just incredible. It dove back down once it saw the boat, and it fought real hard. Right then, the reel came off of my rod. So I had the reel in one hand, the rod in the other. I was able to get it back on and continue to fight the fish. And then a moment later, the fish swam under my boat and got hung up in my prop of my motor. From watching my father do it a few times, over my life, I knew that if I stuck the pole in the water underneath the prop, I'd be able to free it, but it would be a big risk of losing the fish, but it was really the only choice I had. So I was able to get it free. I tired the fish out. The entire thing took about 10 or 15 minutes. The third time that it hit the water, it kind of just tired and gave up and went on its belly. That's when I went to the bow of the boat, and I was able to get my hand in through the gill and hoist it up over the bow of the boat into the boat. I knew it was a big fish. I had no idea how big it was. I just wanted to weigh it and measure it and then release it. When I weighed it, I had a small hand scale in the boat. My scale said 61 pounds, and I knew exactly what the record was. And I knew right away I had to get it to shore to have it weighed and to get it into the record book. So it was a wild day for sure.
State biologists estimate the 60-pound striped bass was about 20 years old. Lester says it hit on a tiny bloodworm. A number of people will share in the culinary bounty, while the skin of the fish will be mounted and put on display in the town of Goshen Allstate Insurance Office where Lester works. How was he able to do it? Well, Lester says it took a little bit of skill and a whole lot of luck. More criticism from the City of Newburgh Police Union directed at their chief, Michael Ferrara. Teamsters Union officials who represent the Newburgh PBA say the rank and file are in need of raises and more department manpower, and that the issues are getting swept under the rug. The PBA passed a no-confidence vote directed at Ferrara back in February. He says crime statistics are being released on a regular basis and that the City Council approved the hiring of 3 new officers in this year's budget. But Teamsters spokesman Adrian Huff maintains the Newburgh cops are short of necessary crime-fighting tools. Elsewhere, a Saugerties man was to be arraigned in Ulster County Court after being indicted on charges he raped another person last September. 42-year-old Jonathan Johnson was indicted by a grand jury for first-degree rape and first-degree criminal sexual act. He was arrested in Monticello last week following an 8-month investigation by the Kingston Police Department. And yesterday, we reported the arrest of Skylar Eby for passing and producing counterfeit money. Turns out this was not his first brush with the law. The 19-year-old Port Ewan resident was already in trouble for allegedly making online threats after hacking into a Facebook account and for making a telephone bomb threat to Bailey Middle School in Kingston. Eby was taken into custody Monday and has additionally been charged with forgery and criminal possession of a forged instrument. We are hoping for some nice weather over the Memorial Day weekend, but before we get there, we'll be dealing with some rain, it looks like. Tomorrow will be cloudy with showers likely. The highs Thursday will be in the upper 60s. Friday, getaway day, will be mostly cloudy with a passing shower or two. Temperatures Friday should get up around 70 degrees. Well, stay on top of what's happening by starting your day with the Times-Herald Record. And you'll get news when it breaks right here at Record Online. For Record Newswatch, I'm Tracy Baxter.